I want you to imagine someone walks into a room and calmly says, "Last weekend I hung from ceilings by hooks through my skin." Most people would probably think they were joking or completely insane. But here's the surprising part. For many people, body suspension isn't about showing off. It's not about proving how tough they are. And it's definitely not something done recklessly by most participants. Instead, many describe it as being one of the most peaceful, emotional, and life-changing experiences they've ever had. Body suspension is a practice of lifting a person completely or partially off the ground using large sterile hooks inserted through folds of skin. Notice something important. The hooks don't go through muscle, and they don't even go through your bone. They are placed through carefully selected areas where the skin and underlying connective tissue can safely bear load when performed correctly. Depending on the suspension style, someone may have just 2 hooks, or as many as 20 or more. Once connected to ropes, a pulley system slowly lifts the participant into the air. For some people, they stay suspended for only a few seconds. Others remain hanging for 10, 20, or even 30 minutes. While it sounds incredibly painful, many participants say the initial piercing hurts the most. Once suspended, they often describe feeling surprisingly calm. Although modern suspension has become associated with tattoo conventions and body modification events, the practice has much deeper roots. Several indigenous cultures have historically practiced ceremonial forms of suspension or piercing rituals to the purpose of varied and not all involved full body suspension. One of the best known examples is a sun dance practice by the indigenous people of North American plains. In certain historical versions of the ceremony, volunteers had wooden pegs inserted through the skin of the chest and were attached to rope as part as a deeply spiritual act of sacrifice, endurance, prayer, and renewal. It's important to note that these ceremonies were and remain sacred religious traditions. Modern recreational suspension should not be viewed as a continuation of the ceremonies. In South Asia, Hindu festivals such as Chhath Puja and Thaipusam have also included ritual piercing. In some regions and historical periods, devotees were suspended or lifted using hooks as acts of devotion, though practices vary significantly by community and many modern celebrations emphasize safer alternatives. For participants, pain wasn't the point, spiritual transformation was. Modern body suspension began taking shape in the late 1970s and 1980s. A major influence was Fakir Musafir, who became widely known for exploring body modification, ritual practices, and suspension in the United States. Musafir believed that modern society had largely lost meaningful rites of passage. Through body suspension, he sought to recreate experiences of self-discovery, meditation, and personal growth. As tattoo culture expanded through the 1990s, professional suspension teams began appearing around the world. Today, organized suspension groups focus heavily on education, sterile technique, teamwork, and participant safety. Human skin is much stronger than most people realize. The dermis, the thick layer beneath our outer skin, is largely made of collagen fibers, which provide impressive tensile strength. When hooks are properly placed through the areas with enough tissue, the load is spread across multiple suspension points rather than concentrated in one spot. That distribution of force is one reason experienced teams often use several hooks instead of only 1 or 2. Professional suspension crews also inspect every piece of equipment. Sterile single-use hooks, medical-grade ropes and hardware, backup rigging, controlled lifting systems, emergency plans. Nothing is rushed. Communication happens constantly. Unlike viral internet videos that may appear reckless, reputable suspension events are carefully planned. Yes, but maybe not in the way you'd expect. Nearly everyone reports that inserting the hooks causes a sharp, intense pain. After suspension begins, many people describe something entirely different. Some experience a rush of adrenaline. Others report feeling of calm or euphoria. Researchers believe that this may be partially related to the release of endorphins, chemicals that body naturally produce that can reduce the perception of pain and contribute to feeling of well-being. Many participants compare the emotional experience to completing an ultramarathon or reaching a deep meditative state. Of course, the experience varies from person to person. There isn't just one way to suspend someone. Each position changes both the physical challenge and the visual appearance. The suicide suspension uses hooks placed in the upper back, allowing the participant to hang upright. The Superman suspension positions the body horizontally, creating the illusion of flying. The coma suspension also has a participant face up. The resurrection suspension lifts the body face down. Other styles use knees, calves, chest, or a combination of multiple hook placements. Each requires different rigging techniques and experience. The biggest question might be is, why do people do it? The answers are surprisingly diverse. Some people describe overcoming fear. Others celebrate surviving illness. Some mark major life events. Many simply enjoy pushing personal boundaries. For others, it's deeply spiritual. Participants often describe feeling completely present. No phones, no distractions, no stress about tomorrow, just the moment. Psychologists who study extreme experiences sometimes compare this to achieving a flow state where intense focus temporarily quiets everyday worries. Despite careful preparation by experienced practitioners, body suspension is not without risk. Potential complications include bleeding, infection, tearing of the skin, nerve injury if placement is incorrect, fainting, and even scarring. These risks increase significantly if sterile technique, proper equipment, or experienced supervision are absent. For that reason, experienced suspension groups generally discourage people from attempting suspension on their own. Proper screening, informed consent, sterile equipment, and trained personnel are all considered essential. Body suspension tends to provoke strong reactions. Some see it as disturbing, others view it as an art form. Still, others consider it a legitimate form of personal expression. The reality is that participants come from many backgrounds: teachers, engineers, nurses, artists, mechanics, office workers, and more. Contrary to common stereotypes, most people involved in the organization suspension communities are not trying to shock others. Many simply view suspension as another form of body art, similar to tattooing or piercing, though far more physically demanding. At the end of the day, body suspension isn't really about hanging from hooks. It's about confronting fear, testing the limits, and trusting others, discovering something about yourself in the process. Whether you find it inspiring, confusing, or impossible to imagine, it's hard to deny that body suspension challenges our assumptions about pain, the human body, and what people are capable of enduring. Maybe that's why it continues to fascinate people all over the world, because sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the ones that are completely real. Could you ever do a body suspension? Or is this one experience you'll happily leave to someone else? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.